Sego Sewagwego. I'm here to talk about everyone's favorite subject, COVID, but it's going to be from a cultural and spiritual perspective. So with that, I'm going to be using some of our, two of our traditional symbols that, are part of our Haudenosaunee culture. And the first one that I want to talk about is our peace tree, or the tree of peace. And this was given to us many, many years ago, hundreds of years ago, during a time where there was a lot of violence and despair and bloodshed. And so with this came the Great Law of Peace, and it was our Great Law, Kahnawake. So with that, we have three guiding principles, which is Skana, Ganakurio, and Gansanstasara. So with that, we want to have peace in our heart when we are conducting our life. We want to always use the good mind. And when we're struggling with that, that's the time that we really need to connect with Gansanstasara, that inner power, that inner life force energy that connects us and gives us our life. So I want to start with bringing you back to 2001. I was traveling with Geraldine Stand-Up at the time. We had a year where I was doing some training with her. And during that time, we ended up in Six Nations at Jan Longboats for a gathering of residential school survivors. And during that time, there was a tree planting ceremony that was going to happen. So Chief Jake Swamp was there. And before he got to the part of telling, planting the tree, he was talking about parts of the teachings of the peacemaker. And when he got to the part of lifting up the tree and burying the weapons, I was sitting there and then, just listening to what he had to say. And then all of a sudden within my mind came the tree, and that we are the tree, and that we need to bring this tree to life with our actions and how we conduct our daily business. So from there, I went to the roots. And when I looked at the roots, the white roots that go into the four directions, and people are welcome to come and take shelter under that tree when they want to follow the great law of peace and live in that love and peaceful way. So when I looked at the four roots from the four directions, I says, what is it? If we're this tree, what is it that we have that's four? And it was, the four aspects of our being. So there's our physical body, our emotional body, our intellectual mental body, and our spiritual body. And usually you see the roots wrapped around a turtle, which symbolizes our mother, the earth. And so with those roots, which is us, it's using our body, our heart, our mind, and our spirit in a good, loving, kind way. And we wrap those roots around our mother, the earth, and we run it deep in there where it wraps around the bones and the stones and the bones of our ancestors. She's constantly nurturing us and nourishing us, and everything we need in life grows upon her body. And so this is, who we are. It's kinship with creation, and always giving gratitude and being satisfied with only taking what we need. So from the roots, next it was the needles. And they cluster in five, and some say it's the 5 nations that represents that. And so my mind went there and said, okay, what is it that we have that's 5? And how we perceive this world, and it's using our 5 senses. Our eyes, our nose, the sense of taste and hearing and touch, and that we need to use those senses and how we perceive the world in a loving, kind, and peaceful way, using words to uplift each other and, just showing that we care. And if someone is down and whatever, we're using our hands to uplift them. We're using our hands to create, to have a better life, not just for ourselves and our community, but for the future generations to come. So then from the needles, I went to the eagle. And the eagle warns us in our culture, in our confederacy, when there's danger. So if we're this tree, what is it that we have that warns us when there's danger. It's our intuition. It's our gut feeling. And Spirit is always talking to us, but we don't quiet ourselves in our busy lives trying to make a living, raising a family, manage a home. I mean, the list goes on and everything that we need to do. But in our culture, there was always time for self-reflection, whether we went on vision quests, fasting, whether we went into a moon lodge, our moon ceremonies. That's a time where we humble ourselves and we come and connect with our Mother, the Earth. And so now we're busy and we have to pay attention to those dreams. So now with COVID, it's almost like we were forced into a vision quest. We're almost like, you know, creation and creator is putting us in our homes, and it's quieting ourselves and taking away the distractions of life so that we have that opportunity to really look at ourselves, get to know the people we live with, get to know Mother Earth and all of creation, because there's really not that much to do but connect with you know, everything that makes us so Gwehunwe, everything that we are supposed to follow in Kahnawake. So this is how I see it, while the time that we're in. I mean, we could see it as, yeah, it's stressful and there's a lot of things going on, but really it's teaching us about who we are and, you know, putting those things where they need to be. The next part of the tree was that journey that we have from, you know, from the roots, you know, just going up the tree. So journeying upward. So when we're looking at that, that is our stages of life. So from birth to that time where, you know, it's almost time for us to leave, we're looking at stages of development, and we always had celebration or rites of passage during that time in different stages of our life. And when we're journeying upward, we're going towards, sometimes there's a sun on top, and we're walking and going towards enlightenment in our life. And at one point in that journey, that stages of development, and we're reaching old age, at one point, I remember hearing this, and it was so profound when I heard it, it's like we turn around. We turn around and we look back on this journey that we've lived. And what is it that we want looking back at us? Did we live a life worth living? You know, did we use all of these teachings that the Peacemaker gave us in order to live a good life for self and community? And then we look at the branches, and the tree goes up like this. So at the bottom, the branches are out. And then as we journey up life, the branches go narrow. So when we're young, it's all about the physical body. It's all about movement, and we're invincible, and we can multitask and do all these things, and we have strength. But as we age, what happens is the body slows down, and what kicks in now is our wisdom self. And that's why our elders are the wisdom keepers. So it's our spiritual self and dealing with some of that emotional self. So that's that journey outward. And then there's also, when we're looking at the tree, is the balance of the two energies, the twin energies that came to us from our creation story. And however you want to call it, it's that creative energy, or it could be the challenging energy. It could be the light energy, the dark energy, feminine energy, masculine, however you want to divide that energy. But really, it's about walking that good red road in balance. So when we're looking at that, you know, there's a lot of things in our life where there's joy and there's beauty and there's goodness, but then there's also times in our life where there's chaos and panic and upset and sadness and anger. And in this time with 10 months of, you know, what we're going through with COVID and measures and directions, and everything changes depending on this virus that we have, really, you know, it has a life of its own, and it's almost, sometimes we feel like we're fighting air, but we're doing it. We're doing it as a Kahnawake people, you know, sticking to that. So I just want to say with those, you know, that energy there, that twin energy, I want to say that there's chaos, and then could be panic, but at the same time, there's wisdom. And wisdom and chaos and panic coexist. So we're always looking at that time where we're struggling and there's challenges, what's the wisdom that's happening right now? If it coexists, what's the wisdom? And that's the question for each and every one of us, our individual selves, because this is our journey. This is our spiritual pilgrimage. It's not about someone else, it's about us. And I just want to read a little quote here that says, "When the affliction of negative emotions is blazing like fire, then wisdom is also blazing like fire." So we all have this question right now is, anything that happens is what's the wisdom that's happening here? And so if we're focusing on some of that emotions and feelings that are challenging and hurtful, if we focus on anger, we're going to get angry because we're frustrated and we're overwhelmed. But what are we going to do with that anger? Are we going to hurt someone with our words? Are we going to make fists and want to physically hurt somebody? Or are we going to look at that as a teacher to us because our anger is teaching us about us, something inside of us that needs to come out and see the day of light? And so we need to look at that, and what is it that we have in our wellness toolbox or our wellness bundle that's going to help us to move this energy outward so that we're not directing it towards someone else? Is it we need to go out and have a run, do a hike, snowshoe, go and see an elder, seek professional help, do yoga, meditation, whatever it is? Creating, a lot of people are doing crafts to keep their mind focused and in the moment, because we don't want to be too much in the past, too much in the future, but what's here now, and there's a lot to be grateful for right now. So when we're looking at that, we're looking at what's in our toolbox, is it our medicines? Is it that you carry a tobacco tie because you never know when you're going to feel that feeling? And I always have one in my purse. And, every now and then it's like, ooh, I need something. And then I just, pray and I say, and it's almost like I'm asking Creator to take my hand and to give me guidance, to give me direction, to help me deal with the heaviness that's going on, because we all deal with it at one point in our life. There's no way around it. And so now that we've dealt with it in a good, healthy, well way, now it's time. We see that now again in our peace tree, burying the weapons. And so now that we've dealt with it in a good way, we want to give it to Mother Earth. We want to give it to Mother Earth to heal. And usually there's water underneath, and we give it to the purest water, where there's no drama and there's no trauma. She accepts whatever it is we give her to heal. And so with that, that's what I got for burying the weapons. And at this time, while we're journeying, it's so important to keep our roots connected and deep and feeling her love. At this time, across the Confederacy is our midwinter ceremonies. And so we're doing the best we can with the restrictions, but the words and the ceremony still needs to take place the best that we can. And so with this now, whatever we're doing here, the portal to Sky World is open. So whatever we're doing here in Sky World, they're also doing. And what's happening in Sky World, it's being sent down to us. And so with that, it's a time to pay attention to dreams. Again, intuition. And that, the dreams are our messengers. And so we pay attention to whatever, and even our thoughts. So from there, it's just about, this tree and making it strong again, because we're the tree. And if we want our ways in Kahnawake to continue and be strong, we need to do our part. So the second symbol that I want to talk about that's really significant and really sacred in our culture is the Circle of Chiefs, Wampom. And with this, it's the 50 chiefs of the Confederacy, and that long string is the people. And so when I look at this, when we're looking at that symbol, the 50 chiefs have a duty and responsibility to keep Kahnawake alive and strong and living. And if they notice that the tree is being uprooted, then they have a responsibility to join hands or link arms and do what they can to strengthen that tree, to strengthen our ways so that peace overpowers the darkness and the war and the hatred. And so if we look at that now in this time, and we're the tree sometimes goes in the middle or is in the middle of this. And so if we're the tree, who is it that at this time where we're dealing with COVID, who's in the middle? Who's that vulnerable population? Our elders, our children, the faces yet to come, maybe it's family members. And so at this time, we all have a duty and responsibility to link arms, to make sure that we get through this so that we have no one that dies from this. And we've been lucky. COVID hit my family. I had some, firsthand experiences with that, and I'm really happy that they recovered and that they're doing well. I don't know what I would do if something more serious happened, because my family is my medicine, and so it is for everyone else. So it's that link in the arms. It's standing together in peace. And maybe if we're going to link arms, it's someone that you don't care for, and that you're linking arms with them, someone who rubs you the wrong way because they're a teacher for you. Everything around us is there either to bring us joy and uplift us with wisdom, or something that rubs us the wrong way is a teacher. Because, like I said, chaos and upset and whatever coexist with wisdom. It's together, and then it becomes neutral. So even in that circle, maybe we need to be in there sometimes, and we need a circle of arms to come around us, to uplift us, to root us back, to dust us off and lift our minds. We all need that sometime. And so with that, I just want to say that, we're going to get through this. It's almost like, I heard the light at the end of the tunnel, but really, we're the light. Allow our luminous, beautiful energy to shine out so that we lift each other during this time. Tony Wanna Geto.